we talked about data governance, how do we trust the data and all. So now, everybody, like every country, every government is coming up with the new regulations on AI governance. A good example can be EU released AI governance for enterprise, European Union. And should organizations go and adopt them, and should we implement them? Because it's evolving, right? Every country is coming up with their own regulations now. So what should finance organizations do given the current situation?
Okay, so obviously first the thanks to Vinay and her team. I think the team executes well for every event, and there's lots of events you're doing. I'll repeat the question. The question is like you have all these acts that are coming in, and should you build for them proactively or not? And I'll give a short answer and a long answer. The short answer is ask Indigo Airlines. Should you proactively build for a regulation or not, right? So that's a way. Okay. And I'll talk about a longer answer, and there are two things you have to understand. You have to understand the crux of these laws, right? So Europe is a very clear guarded castle type where the law says if you are into this type of AI, this is what you do and you will get this penalty. Um, uh, India is a very Panchayati Raj kind of model where you are told a free AI act guidance and the law is not clear, and suddenly the law gets defined or changed. For example, I'll not digress into high frequency trading and Jane Street, but the law gets sometimes invented way. I will ask a very simple quiz that will elaborate things. Okay. Now, when should you implement? I want you to clearly understand the penalties that are there, right? Europe has a very clear 35 million or 7% of turnover. And I'm going to ask you just 2 or 3 simple scenarios, and I want you to let me know whether they qualify for getting a 35 million penalty or not. One simple thing is you are making a bank app and you have a buy now button, right? You are an insurance bank, you are selling insurance, you are a bank and you have a buy now button in which you want to upsell and cross sell people based on whatever behavior they have been doing. Okay. So that's situation one. Second situation, you do scoring of people, whether you should give them a loan or not, based on parameters that are non-financial. Is the person healthy or not? Is the person, for example, visited a certain set of sites or not? Two questions. Third, your manager decides or somebody in the IT decides that I have developed a new model where I'll be able to scan faces or scan their profiles or photograph, and based on that give some scoring on whether we should give it to them or not. That detects why. My simple question to all of you is 1, 2, 3. Which of these, how many of these you think will not make you eligible for a clear 35 million euro penalty? Anybody thinks less than 3, let me know. So all 3 make you eligible today for getting a penalty of $35 million. And all 3 are very common practices. So start implementing now.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, thank you. And the other maybe relevant question or related question, Vikram, is that we've been hearing about model drifting, data drifting, maybe misuse of these models, right? And maybe this can happen, because that model might have trained some time back, and data has changed, the business scenarios have changed, and how should especially the finance department should be prepared and deal with this kind of a model drifts and data drifts and misuses?
Yeah, so I think I'll try to keep this answer shorter, but I think misuse is like any other misuse by an employer breaking any law. You have to get it signed in the document, you have to read that, retrain that, and others. I think the problem comes in the data and the AI model. With a person, you're very clear, you have an onboarding process, you have an offboarding process, and you have some review process in the middle. This is exactly what you have to follow for data and AI, because what happens is people don't follow that. If there is an AI project shut down, do you have an offboarding process for it? One of the largest pharma companies globally 2 weeks ago brought down 60 AI projects running globally to 5 and put the team under watch that if this does not get delivered this quarter, then there is a major shakedown coming. So when you are doing offboarding, and I think the theme for 2026 is going to be a lot of AI garage sale rationalization, because last year CEOs had signed up with Nvidia and others agreements. So can you, for data drift, set that same thing when data is not in use? There were. So other part is continuous. I'll just talk about one mistake people make in the continuous monitoring. You cannot have the same software that manages the data used for monitoring the data. So it's a common sense that maker and checker will be different. So whether it is data monitoring, whether it is AI monitoring, you have to have a different designation handling it. So a lot of software companies evolved to having a head of software testing. In India, the chief data officer still doesn't exist by and large. So the chief data testing officer or AI model testing officer has to be a separate role. So that's short.
Can you advise or give some guidance to the audience here in terms of governance perspective? Of course, this panel is focused on governance. What are all the aspects they should consider before they adopt or use or build agents like what you guys did?
Yeah, so thank you for giving me the chance to talk about. I think both Solix team and Ajit have always been encouraging. So I think I'll talk about agents. So two things are there. Okay, you know, first you have to believe in, because we had a lot of data steward, data analyst, and you know, the bottleneck is always comes down to me and a lot of people. Uh, we didn't believe, and you have to get a separate set of people to drive who have done that before. So I think agentic, our key learning was to come down to three things. One is that either you are a full agent workflow or you're not an agentic workflow. There's nothing in between. Human in a loop also has certain timeline on that. And that mindset change is the number one thing that uh, we are trying to get me and everybody to do. So when we moved from a team of 25 analysts and data steward, it came down to 2 with higher quality. And implementing this, sorry to say, cannot be done with a lot of people who don't convert. Everybody should be given a chance to convert because they stay and others. I'll tell you the difference between a digital person and an agentic person. If you give a digital person a website to make, they will say, I need designer, developer, all that. Somebody which is a true agentic person will think about how do I implement this in agentic workflow. So I think the work is moving to agents. The faster you're able to move, the more you will be freed up to do other things. Okay. So that's there. And our focus is more heavily pharma and regulated industries. Happy to talk more about multiplier AI. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, no.